All right, there we go. Guess it wasn't plugged in all the way. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Uprise Postgame show. I'll redo this intro. Yeah, Blazers drop another game. They lose to the Miami Heat. It was to be expected. Even without Jimmy Butler, they're still a winning team. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Yeah, fresh haircut. Let me know if you can hear me. There we go. All right, awesome. Thank you, Christopher Galloway. Yeah, shout out to Eric who ran the last post-game show. I think he did a great job. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know he was nervous to be the one behind the inner workings of the stream, but I think he did a good job. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you guys didn't tune into that, whatever. Anyway, we'll get Eric on in a second. I'm still gathering my thoughts. I just ran home. Was dealing with some issues with my computer. That's why the stream's up a little bit late. But we're going to talk about this loss. We're going to talk about some of the problems. We're going to talk about some of the positives from this game. Jake Carey says, Tori looking like my boy Tyler Harrow. See, he gets it. I was trying to look like Tyler Harrow. That was, hopefully my jump shot is like his now too. But we'll talk about why Goran Dragic always kills us, because there's a reason for that. There's a reason why guys like Joe Ingles and Goran Dragic always kill us. And we're going to get into that, but I'll bring on Eric here. Hopefully he's ready for the Skype call, but I'm going to Skype call him right now. I've been dealing with Thunder fans in my mentions all game. They were brutal, cringy, you know how Thunder fans on Twitter are. Terrence Ferguson season accounts like those. They don't know how to spell season. It's SZN. I'll talk about that a little bit because we can clown some OKC fans for fun to help us cope with yet another loss against a winning team. We're like 3-14 now against winning teams. It was to be expected. I'm not even mad about this loss. It's easier to take these losses when you expect them going into the game. So anyway, let me pull up Skype here. Let me get things going. We're gonna chill here for a bit. This is the earliest post-game show of the season. It's only 5:40 right now. Early Sunday game. I know some of you Seahawks fans are happy. Probably don't even care that the Blazers just lost this game. You guys are just ecstatic that the Seahawks won. So we got my Niners and your guys' Seahawks in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. That could be a conference championship game because they don't have to go up against each other because the Vikings pulled off an amazing upset. We'll talk about that a little bit too. We can get into some football. Why not? We're going to entertain you guys on this post-game stream. It's not really going to be, us trying to bag a ton. You guys don't want to hear that. Oh, you get hear it. Okay, good. Alrighty. Give me a second, Eric, and we'll be good to go. All right, what's up, man?
What's up? What's going on?
So, we got to talk about Goran Dragic first. That's the first thing we got to get into from this game. He cooked us. He was 7 for 9 from 3, and he always cooks us.
He missed one late, dude. He was 7 for 10.
7 for 10. Wow, so inefficient. Appreciate all the compliments on the haircut. I got a haircut, so
you do look like Tyler Hero, man.
I do a little bit. I wish I could shoot like him now, though. But yeah, I spent getting it all like arranged properly before this stream. I don't know. It's I'm experimenting here with the haircut. So anyway. What I noticed with Goran Dragic is we kept running that drop scheme against him. If you guys don't know what a drop scheme is in the pick and roll, it's what we always run to defend pick and rolls where the big is sagged 10 feet into the paint, 10 feet below the pick and roll, and guys come off screens for wide open threes. Maybe I can actually show it here with that diagram. I'll show it here with that diagram. I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I used this on a previous stream, but here we go. Hopefully that's looking good. Alrighty, so drop pick and roll scheme, right? It's like Blazers are on defense. Guys come sets a screen on the guy guarding the ball. This center drops back into the paint. This point guard is supposed to try and chase him over, but Goran Dragic with the ball just kept going over this screen all game long. Point guard would get hung up on the screen. Center, instead of hedging, instead of trapping, instead of taking this away, making the point guard give up the ball, was sagging back, so Goran Dragic kept dribbling off the screen, kept getting wide open 3-point looks from here, because the big wasn't there to help out the point guard with the screen. So we're able to walk into Goran Dragic was able to walk into wide open look after wide open look, and it hurt us. There's certain guys that really love handling the ball out of the pick and roll against this type of defensive scheme, and they get going because of it. And those guys are usually the guys that Blazer fans are always complaining about, like, why do these guys always have great games against us? Another one of those guys is Joe Ingles, and it was the same thing. That drop pick and roll coverage really hurt us. And even if they're not pulling up for three, a guy like Goran Dragic, a guy like Joe Ingles is able to like get into the space, hit that mid-range pull-up. Let me bring the ball forward. There we go. They're able to use this space to kind of manipulate their way. They'll bring the center up, and then the center will be open on the roll. They'll lob. They'll really be able to guys like Dragic and Ingles are really able to get going from the three-point line, but also they're able to set up their big well against this type of pick and roll defense. And what I noticed was this is exactly what Goran Dragic was doing. I gotta figure out a way to not get it to cut back to my dashboard there, but yeah, this was what got Goran Dragic going, and he got a lot of open three-point looks against this type of scheme, just like Joe Ingles did. Joe Ingles, another one of those Blazer killers, and it's not a coincidence that these guys are Blazer killers. It's not a coincidence at all.
I also remember a game last year where we didn't adjust at all to Conley, and he had like 37 points or something like that, and we just didn't do anything. Fourth quarter, same thing. Still covering in the same way, still getting the same looks he got in the first half.
Yep, 100%. Now, maybe you run that scheme to start the game, but you got to adjust that scheme at some point if guys are killing it. You gotta adjust, and they trapped a little bit. Jake Carey pointed that out. They did trap a little bit, but throw different looks at him. Don't just throw a trap. Maybe bring the big up a little bit more. Try different things, because that type of pick and roll scheme was not working whatsoever. It's the same thing with Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles was able to walk into 3 after 3, and I just wish we would have saw adjustments earlier, and we would have seen different pick and roll schemes. Now, the problem is people will say, oh, when they do adjust, they struggle at that. I think that's because they don't run different pick and roll schemes enough. They're not used to trapping, okay? They're not used to trapping. They hardly do it, so they're not good at trapping. So when they do trap, there are problems elsewhere, but how do you get good at running a trapping scheme? You get experience with it in games. You do more of it. You mix things up a little bit more so you can get used to running different types of pick and roll defenses, but they don't do that because they primarily run this drop big scheme. They run it, I'd say, 80-90% of the time, maybe more. I don't know. I don't have a number on that or anything, but they run it almost every single time against the pick and roll. So I would like to see us switch it up more to get used to it, to get better at that type of thing, so we don't just have to sit there and let Goran Dragic shoot 3 after 3 after 3.
To your point, this is game 37. We're almost halfway through the season. This is the point where you should be starting to see guys comfortable with different types of schemes and defenses and pick and roll coverages. Not, for the first time all year, let's try this.
Yeah.
And for those who are saying Whiteside is just too slow to hedge or come out on that further, the first game against Denver, there was 3 plays in that game where he hedged and recovered very well. And yes, we don't have Collins anymore as a safety net, but I've seen him do it this season on the Blazers, and that's seemingly been coached out of him not to do it that way, because now he just literally stands 10 feet away. Like the 7th 3 Goran hit, Whiteside was just standing below the free throw line, just like not even moving. And that's inexcusable for an NBA player to just do that. Like, it's not just about hedging or switching or whatever and letting Goran blow by you. There's so many different things you can do out of a pick and roll. And there's a reason why teams run pick and roll all the time. It's effective. Nothing is going to work 100% of the time. But when something is working very little in a game, but you don't make enough adjustments to change that, or at least try it, because if they would have tried like trapping earlier in the game, or hedge and recover, or just flat out switching, and that was hurting us too, you could at least say, well, at least they tried a few things different, right? At least they like seemed like they were trying to solve that and trying to figure out how to stop him. But instead, they're just like, oh, well, maybe he'll eventually miss. Oh, well, he's on fire. What are you going to do? He made shots.
I will say this, and I'll get into it. I thought our second half defense was actually pretty solid. We had some like mental lapses that were inexcusable, but there was multiple possessions where it's like, wow, these guys are really rotating. They're rotating correctly. They're getting there quickly. They're playing with energy. We saw some decent defense during the second half. They hit a lot of contested threes. Dragic got going off that pick and roll to the point where he got a ton of confidence, got comfortable, and then he was knocking down contested threes and knocking down tough shots because, when you don't throw different looks at guys, in my opinion, it helps them find a rhythm because they know what type of look they're going to get when running the pick and roll. A guy like Dragic will get going because of that. I thought our second half defense was decent. There's definitely some mistakes that we shouldn't have had. The most notable one was Mario Hezonja leaving the ball, leaving Bam Adebayo to just dribble for a wide open dunk. Like, if you guys watch the game, you probably know what I'm talking about. That was, something that should not happen. That's kind of an inexcusable mistake, but
it was kind of crazy how, like, there's dunks off lobs, which happen against the Blazers quite often. But I thought it was crazy how many times they got the ball like in the middle of the key and still had to take a dribble or a couple steps to dunk and still had a wide open lane to dunk.
Yeah.
Even though they had to take it a couple extra seconds, it's not like a lob where if they catch the pass, they have a dunk right away.
Yeah. And that's just, I don't even know what to attribute that to, man. I mean,
that was a Shaq in the fool moment right
there. Yeah. I mean, that just should not happen. But overall, I thought in the second half we played better defense, but the results weren't really that much better because Miami got comfortable and got a rhythm in the first half. They got confidence, so then they knocked down shots in the second. That's kind of my theory on the game, because they were on fire in the second half. I mean, we were doing well offensively, especially considering the talent we had. We were making plays, we were making things happen on the offensive end. We just couldn't close the gap because we couldn't get a string of stops. And there was, we had a string of possessions where we defended well, I think, but they knocked down shots because they got comfortable in the first half. Our defense in the first half was nowhere near what it was in the second half, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that. What do you think about that?
I felt like it wasn't necessarily that the defense was better in the second half. I just felt like we were actually playing with a little more urgency than we did in the first half. Yeah. The first half was same story all year. It's just noticeable how little energy and effort this team has. This goes back to what you've been saying since the preseason. Once again, when they get out and run, it seems like some of their defensive issues go away. They score easier on creating chaos on the defense where they push the ball up. And I don't understand that. That's why we have these little runs at the end of games where we almost get back into games sometimes, because we are pushing the ball up. And I don't understand why we don't try that from the beginning of the game. Just try to push the pace more when we have a severe lack of talent disadvantage. I don't think that was the case in this game, but both teams were kind of lack of talent there.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the starting lineups. Chat, you guys let me know, Miami or Portland, which starting lineup do you think was more talented? For us, we had Damian Lillard, Gary Trent Jr., Kent Bazemore, Carmelo Anthony, Hassan Whiteside. Miami had Kendrick Nunn, Derrick Jones Jr., Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, and Myers Leonard. Which starting
I mean,
lineup do you think was more talented? Because their starting lineup outplayed ours. I know their bench was obviously better. Our bench, especially when we were missing CJ and now Rodney's out and Scow's out. With the injuries we have, our bench isn't talented. But starting lineup, they shouldn't have outplayed us the way they did, especially in the first half.
I kind of misspoke on my last statement. I'm not saying that the Heat players aren't talented, because they obviously are.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked that same question before the season and you said during the Miami Heat game, this would be the starting lineups, everyone would have been like, who? Like, no one had heard of Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson and those guys. And yet they're starting and playing key roles. And, you cannot tell me that Duncan Robinson is a better defender than Kent Bazemore, or Myers Leonard is a better defender than Hassan Whiteside,
Kendrick Nunn isn't a good defender, but they didn't have a good defensive starting lineup. Bam is a good defender. Derrick Jones Jr. is solid, but other than that, they had 3 poor defenders. But in terms of the way they played team defense, they were in the right spots. They rotated correctly. They did the fundamental things that I've been waiting to see out of the Portland Trail Blazers. And that combined with their shooting is what sprung them off to that quick 14-4 start. It's what got us down double digits before the second quarter. And that's the thing. It's I think we could play that type of defense with the defenders we have, because it's not necessarily predicated off of, okay, is this individual, how good of a defender is this individual and this individual and this individual. It's how they, it's how cohesive they are as a defensive unit. It's how, do they do the fundamentals on the defensive end? Do they rotate? Are they positioned well? Do they react well? Do they react properly? That type of things, or those type of things. And we don't do those things. That's what we struggle with, so to say. Hopefully I explained that well. That's what we struggle with.
I know you tweeted this out in the game, but there was a play out of a timeout where Bazemore just got caught standing under the basket. They kicked to his guy in the corner, wide open 3. All of a sudden, we're back down double digits again. And it's just we can never go on a run or be a good team. Because, if you take, several of those moments throughout the games and you average that costing you, 3 to 5 points a game, and your point differential on the season is about that in these losses, you're talking about games where it's the difference between being an above 500 team and being a losing team like we are right now.
Yeah.
And there's just no discipline on defense at all. And it's just extremely frustrating, especially when you watch a team, like you mentioned, doesn't have great individual defenders without Jimmy Butler. So, but they're extremely disciplined. And no team is ever going to be perfect on defense. That's not what either of us are asking for. Good defenses still give up over 100 points in the NBA. So it's not like you can completely shut down every offense, but you have to be able to adjust and play as a team. And it was just so obvious that you could basically plug and play any person into their system and they would be good because their team is cohesive as a unit defensively. And for us, it's just, we have injuries. We don't have the talent. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Whiteside can't handle that. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Make the scheme around so he can handle it.
But even if he can't, okay, show us that he can't handle it by trying it here and there, trying it more consistently. You know what I mean? Because the definition of stupidity is when something isn't working, but continuously trying the same thing and expecting different results. So you continuously run the same pick and roll scheme against Goran Dragic, during the first half, and he gets going, just like you have in previous games. Same thing with Joe Ingles. You give him the same pick and roll. Look every time he comes off a ball screen with the ball. Those guys get going. It's not going to change. If anything, those guys are going to get more and more comfortable because they're seeing the same look again and again and again. So they're going to improve against that look. You know what I mean? They're going to know exactly what spots they can get to. They're going to know what shots they can get as the game goes along. So that's the thing. It's if we hedge Whiteside and we get burnt somehow, at least we're trying something different because we're getting burnt anyways. So what's the difference? We have a better chance of success trying something else then if
Yeah.
we do the same thing that isn't working and is getting guys comfortable, at least, it might work, but it might take a player out of their comfort zone because it's a different look, so they don't know what to expect next time they come off the pick and roll.
And
Yeah.
and we've been saying this all year. Like, it's not about the talent level if if you're not showing that it's the talent level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're just trying to say, I think, is that if they were trying everything humanly possible to cover up for these injuries and lack of talent and stuff like that, and it still wasn't working, then I think both you and I would be like, okay, like, what is he really supposed to do? He's tried this,
Yeah.
he's tried this, he's tried this. None of it works. Like, you just got to throw your hands up and be like, okay, Miami was the better team, right? But like, it's just when it's problems like miscommunication or not communicating enough, no cohesion after 37 games, like off-ball rotational failures, two people leaving a guy in the middle of the key on guarding the ball to go guard someone off the ball and letting him dunk. Like, this is just, I don't know. I feel like Stotts is trying to get guys to adhere to his system instead of a coach like Spoelstra, who like tries to play to the strengths of the guys he has on his roster.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like in the NBA that's always the best thing. Yeah. And when you have guys like Damon, CJ, and Nurk, and players who can figure things out on their own, I think you mentioned OKC already in this broadcast. Yeah. Having a guy like Chris Paul makes up for Billy Donovan being a horrible coach. Like, he is a coach on the floor. He doesn't need to be coached. Like, he knows what to do on the floor. And so, like, having those guys is great to have, but we have a lot of guys on this team who aren't like that. So you can't just throw the ball out there and let them have a flow offense that figure it out, like do it, like freestyle out of it. Like, they need structure on both offense and defense, and I don't feel like they're getting enough of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I will give Stotts this, though. He is being a little bit more flexible with his pick and roll schemes than in the past. I just don't think it's anywhere near enough. Because in the past, he literally he didn't try anything. He didn't try anything, man. Like, last year, it got so frustrating. He literally would not deviate from the game plan. This season, he will throw a little different coverage out here and there, but it's almost like it's to show people, oh, look, see, I'll throw this out. It doesn't work. In my opinion, they don't do it enough to be successful when they try to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta, you might take your lumps at first, but the more you work on guarding pick and rolls a certain way, the better you'll get at it, hypothetically. You know what I mean? Like, that's the case with most things. The more you do them, the more experience you have with them, the more you learn from your mistakes, the better you'll be at them in the long run. That's the problem I have. They don't do it enough in order to improve on it through experience. So that's why, every now and then throw out a different wrinkle. It won't have a huge difference. And they'll end up, kind of in the same position they are now. I still think, it's better when they change things up defensively, even right now, even though they don't have much experience running different types of schemes, running different types of pick and roll coverages. They just don't do it enough in order to make that stick, make that work, if that makes sense. And that goes back to, in training camp and in practice, I think you should be working on multiple defensive schemes, multiple pick and roll schemes. Then you should be willing to switch it up in the game. Can I just correct you real quick? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a few days ago, they had a whole defensive practice. Mm-hmm. Just remember that. One whole defensive practice, man.
One whole defensive practice. Congratulations, you guys practice defense for a practice.
The fact that was a big deal is my problem. Like, that explains everything, right? Like, everyone's talking about, no, we actually worked on defense. Like, whoa, no way. Like,
oh my goodness.
Like, that should be a big deal, or they shouldn't be like a news story that they had a whole defensive practice, right? They should be like,
yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I know. I know. I had that same reaction. I didn't say anything about it, but I had that same exact reaction, man. Oh my god. It was almost like, look, guys, we're trying to improve on defense. Be happy with us. I don't. It was so weird. Like, a contending team, you're not gonna hear that from the media. It's just so strange. That's
It
funny.
reminds me
That's
of
funny as hell.
there was a game last year where we lost to the Clippers early in the season,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone complained that they had to watch like 45 minutes of film. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, Terry's coming down on them hard or whatever." And
Because of 45 minutes of film.
my whole takeaway was, wait, they only watched 45 minutes of film, and that was like a big deal. Like the practice, like they should be watching
Yeah.
like way more film
In
than that.
between games in high school, we watched more film than that. In high
Yeah.
school, with an old school coach, you know what I mean, with a crappy video camera that was like 60 pixels. It was better than that. We could see what was happening barely on the court, but we watched an hour and a half of film. Like, that's in high school, man.
And
And,
like,
NBA team watches 45 minutes and it's a news story? Seriously?
like they have resources to like go into this game. You could pull up Goran Dragic pick and roll and watch like thousands of plays of him in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
And and that in the Pelicans series, Rondo had a comment that Dame and CJ don't watch film, so they don't know. They're not as. That's what makes them not as good as or in the playoffs or whatever. And like Rondo knew every single one of our plays before we'd even like set it up and all that stuff. And unless you do stuff like that, you're never really going to be good. Someone, I forgot who it was, but someone on Twitter responded to one of my tweets saying, like knowing the other team's tendencies helps a lot with decision making and quickness of the decision making and all that. And that's a good point too. And that goes to like, what are these guys looking for when they are watching film? Like, are they understanding what their role is? And that to me always comes back to coaching. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, without CJ tonight, it's hard to like get too down on it.
I
but
know.
yeah,
It's like, that's the thing. Is there some good things to take away from this game? I was surprised that we like almost made a comeback. We got it to what, 8 points? You know what I mean? Like, after we were down, what, 24, 25, something like that. Like, we showed some life in the third and fourth quarter. We still made mistakes, but we showed some life. Dame hit some tough shots. Anthony got going. Whiteside had a good game in his return to Miami. Like, we had some good individual performances. Some guys stepped up and made things happen on the offensive end. It's just looking at the defense like, okay, we played with some energy. We played with hustle. We rotated. We did that in the third and fourth quarter. We did that, or at least we did a better job of that. And they still hit shots, but they were hitting tough shots compared to easier looks that they were getting in the first half. And it's just like, if we just did that from the first half and didn't let them get going, we might have won that game. And that's the thing. Like, we can win some of these games. We have the guys that can have the individual performances where if we do the fundamental things, if we do, if we fix some of our problem areas, we can pick up games like this. But we're not picking up any games like this. Our record is 3-13, 15, something like that against winning teams. One of those wins came in October when it was the game Zach Collins got hurt, and we had Zach Collins for like 3/4 of that game. We had Rodney Hood. The other OKC game, we had, Rodney Hood and Carmelo Anthony. So basically, you can look at it and say injuries, but I look at it and say, okay, with this lineup, I still think we're good enough to pick up some of these wins, and we're not doing it. We go into a game, and I expect us to be down like 15 before the second quarter, and we always seem to stage some sort of like final hurrah, like, look, we're playing with energy, we're making a comeback. Second half comeback, we cut it to 8. They might have a chance, and then we bow out. We did that against Utah. We did that against Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, we've done that in so many games where it's like, if we just came out in the first half and did the fundamental things and played with the energy we do in the second, we could pick up some of these games that we're not supposed to win. But it's like, we haven't won a single game this year that we weren't supposed to win. We've lost many, many games that we were supposed to win. Knicks in New York, Pelicans at home, Pelicans on the road, Cleveland on the road, they didn't have Love. I know I'm missing another one in there against a bottom feeder team. We've lost a number of games that we should have won. We haven't won a single game that we shouldn't have won, or that we were not, we were the underdog in my opinion. You could maybe say Dallas on the road, but that's about the only one. So that's the problem I have, man. Like, if we just don't come out with the energy we need. We don't come out with the defensive focus that we need. We don't come out with we just don't come out of the gates correctly, in my opinion. Which is kind of the opposite it was earlier in the season. We came out fast and then ended, had terrible third quarters. Now it's kind of the opposite. I just wish we could put together a full game against a winning team, because if we did that, we would have an actual chance to pick up some much-needed wins.
And then I'm just going to look at the final numbers, but I know at halftime these were really bad. But once again, the people who say ball movement doesn't matter, it doesn't correlate to wins. This is another example of why I think that's wrong.
I mean,
they moved the ball extremely well around the perimeter and got open three after open three because of it.
I mean, people mistake correlation for cause. Just because wins and teams that move the ball don't necessarily correlate, that doesn't mean that like ball movement can't be the cause for winning games. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that they're like, I don't know. There's a lot of context there that's ignored, and teams are different. Teams are constructed differently. For us, all I know is when we move the ball, we do better offensively. That's all I know. Like, just from watching game in, game out for years under Terry Stotts with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, when we move the ball, we play better on both ends of the floor. Because guys are they touch the ball more. They're able to be a part of the offense more. They're more willing to give defensive intensity, stuff like that. So we're better all around when we move the ball.
We got up to 21 assists. Most of that was near the end when we were actually, because that's the other thing about fast breaks and pushing the ball up. It leads to like one pass, open shot type situations.
Yeah.
Whereas in the half court offense, it's not quite as easy. But yeah, Dame finished with 12 assists. So of course it's hard to correlate assist with doing well when Dame can like take over and score and assist the ball. But that doesn't mean our offense is like prioritizing ball movement. It just means that he had a good game. And but Miami had 34 assists. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, their offense is so much fun to watch. That was without Jimmy Butler too. 122 points without Jimmy Butler. Their leading scorer and their leading playmaker. He's getting like 6.5 assists per game. And they are without him, and they still move the ball well. They still played a good brand of basketball. It's not dependent on players because they have a system in place that they're able to plug players into and get them playing a specific way. So Spoelstra is doing a great job there in Miami. I mean, you look at the roster. You got a lot of background noise there, huh?
Yeah, my daughter's in here singing.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'll mute myself.
It's yeah. But so Miami's 26-10. 26-10 with they're starting Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Myers Leonard, and they're 26-10. Spoelstra is doing a great job. That's my leading candidate for Coach of the Year. That should be the consensus leader for Coach of the Year, because the way he has them playing, it's so impressive, man. I wasn't that high on Spoelstra before this season, but just watching, I've watched a bit of the Miami Heat before this game, and just watching the way they play it just makes me jealous, dude. It makes me jealous. I wish we could play that way. I think we could play that way. I'd love to bring Spoelstra back to Portland. He has ties to Portland. Would love to just find a way to bring him here, because I think he'd get us playing a good brand of basketball, because if he can do it with if he can develop guys and do it with Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson and Derek Jones Jr. and James Johnson and I mean I'm blanking on a couple guys, but like he does it with anybody, you know. So if he could do it with those guys, he could do it with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Hassan Whiteside, or Yusuf Nurkic, you know, Kent Bazemore. Like he would be able to do it with this roster. So I think, you know, if you switch these rosters, it'd be interesting to see what the records would be if you like switched head coaches. If Terry Stotts was the head coach of the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra was the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers this season, it'd be interesting to see where these teams would be.
I hate the people who say like, "Oh, well, how good of a coaching job was Spoelstra doing when the Blazers went on a 16-2 run in the second half?" It's like, okay, you're taking that small of a sample size, and like every team can go on a run in the NBA. It has like I said earlier, no coach is perfect. No one runs the perfect schemes, but to get the most out of each of your players on the roster is the best indication of a good coach, in my opinion. And I feel like once again we're trying to fit players that don't fit into Stott's system into that without trying to change it.
I mean, Stotts has been dealt a tough hand too. You know what I mean? But he's been dealt a tough hand and he's kind of misplayed it, in my opinion. Spoelstra's been dealt. I mean, like he doesn't have the best roster, but that dude is the coach of the year, in my opinion. Jake Carey, aka JDC, says his dad, John Spoelstra, was a member at a golf course I worked. Yeah, I forget. I'm not like freshened up on Eric Spoelstra's backstory, but I know he had ties to here. I don't exactly remember. I wasn't gonna try and guess, but
well, I think John Spoelstra worked for the Blazers for a long time in the front office or something, and then I think he went to University of Portland, Eric.
Yeah, I remember something like that. I still want to guess and be wrong, but yeah, I mean, it's just another game, and it's another loss against a winning team. I would love to see us beat a winning team. I mean, at this point, the season's looking like lost. Yeah, I had OKC fans in my mentions. You guys are just desperate for the 8th seed. I'm not even desperate for the 8th seed. If we miss the playoffs at this point, I think that's better long term than you know, having a first round matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, I'd like to see us in the playoffs and competitive in the playoffs, but at this point, like, I'm not desperate for the 8th seed. You know, I mean, if we end up in the lottery, we end up in the lottery. Maybe we can, you know, get into the top 4 because the odds are better than they used to be for teams at the bottom of the lottery. So I mean, like Obi Toppin, I love Obi Toppin. Jake Carey, do you love Obi Toppin? Because I've been watching that guy lately. Eric, I gotta give you props for that because Eric was on top of the Obi Toppin train, like before he was projected to be a lotto pick. Like he was projected to be a late first round pick, early second round pick, and Eric texted me. He's like, "Look at this guy, Obi Toppin, man. Like this guy seems like he'd be a great fit. Could play right away.
I told you he would. Yeah. I told you at the time he'd be up in the lottery, and you laughed at me.
Well, yeah, man. I honestly hadn't watched him play, but I was like, really? Because like I remember him last season being like a borderline undrafted player in terms of his draft stock. So it was like he's projected lottery pick, but you always see this with guys, especially their second season of college basketball, where they make a jump from obscurity to the lottery. I mean, John Morant last season wasn't even projected to be drafted at the start of the season. I mean, maybe it was, but I don't remember him being projected to be drafted, let alone a lottery pick, and then he ends up rising all the way up to number 2. Maybe should have went number 1 with the way Zion's injury issues are looking right now. Obi Toppin is another one of those guys. Jarrett Culver was one of those guys last year. He jumped up from obscurity to the 6th overall pick. Obi Toppin is
he's fairly old. I think he'll be like 22 or 23 by the time the draft rolls around.
He'll be barely 22.
And then, but yeah, as a sophomore, that's really old to be 22 already. But that's the only really bad one.
Yeah.
Jake likes him offensively, but not defensively.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing I see from him defensively is he plays with energy and he has a motor. You know what I mean? So, uh, I think that stiffness and that type of stuff can kind of be worked out of him when I look at how like that dude runs the floor. That dude, like his top level speed is impressive. Like when he gets going full speed running the court, it's like that dude is fast as hell for his size. Like it's impressive to me. With the vertical leaping ability, he's able to block shots. He's able to kind of be a little bit of a weak side rim protector at the power forward spot. But yeah, I do agree he is a bit stiff moving laterally, but I feel like maybe that can kind of be worked out of him a little bit. Like I feel like it's more important to have a motor, and have the athleticism that he has. So I think he has the potential to be a two-way player. If
But
not, I think he can at least be average and be like a good forward.
So Russell, first round exit Westbrook, says that might not be bad for us, his age, which is true. I was saying his age more for why he's not going to be like a top 5 pick probably. He'll probably be like in the mid to late lottery. And that's why we have a chance at a guy like that, because of his age. Same thing happened with Brandon Clark last year. He fell all the way to 21. Basically because of his age and nothing else, really.
And he's been phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Brandon Clark's been maybe the most underrated player this season in the entire NBA. Like his efficiency, his defense, like he reminds me, I mean, not necessarily entirely of the style of play, but just in kind of like the role they have and the kind of impact they have. He reminds me of a young Montrezl Harrell in a way. Just super efficient, energy, big off the bench. But he can kind of shoot a little bit, which, like, I'm a Gonzaga fan, and his shot is
not good.
He played at Gonzaga, for those of you guys who don't know. Also, let me give a quick thank you to the people complimenting the haircut, because I've seen you guys. I appreciate it. But Brandon Clark's been phenomenal for the Grizzlies, man. They have two of the top, like, they got John Morant and Brandon Clark. You know what I mean? That might be 2 of the top 3 rookies so far this year, because this rookie class isn't performing well. Rui's hurt, and his efficiency has kind of fallen off. Like, Brandon Clark might be a top 3 rookie right now. They got John Morant, who's the best rookie right now. So props to Memphis, dude, because they hit the jackpot with this past year's draft. Hopefully that can be us, next year. Obi Toppin, man, that's like my draft crush. For me, it's always like a big like forward that I feel like has some offensive potential, because that's kind of what we need, and that's kind of like the archetype that I've scouted the most in past years. I've definitely missed on a couple guys. Who knows how Baisley turns out? I still think like he has a lot of long-term potential, and he could have maybe a not quite the Siakam like rise, but his game kind of reminds me a little bit of Siakam's in a way.
I mean, we both knew he'd be a major project, not like an instant offense thing.
I mean, Chandler Hutchinson, I'll say right now, I was probably wrong on, but he hasn't really been given the opportunity to work through his issues there in Chicago, because Chandler Hutchinson was a big draft crush of mine. But Obi Toppin, man, I'd love to get him, but I think like we'd end up having to get into the top 8 or so. I think Toppin will go like 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. This draft isn't that good. But we'll break down the draft in the future. I want to start getting the draft content out for you guys. Maybe highlighting certain players or something. We'll figure it out.
Oh, one last thing about the draft. I've seen, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, Avdija.
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Maybe Jake knows.
I've seen him slipping in some mock drafts too, like into the late lottery.
I wonder why. Is he like not performing well overseas? I mean, I
haven't really heard why. I don't know if it's just players in the U.S. are getting bumped up ahead of him. But yeah, that's another guy who we might have a chance at that we might not have thought we had a chance to get if we weren't super high.
Yeah.
First P, last JL says, I can't believe Eric likes Mo Bamba. Where's that coming from? I didn't say anything about Mo Bamba. I mean, I do like Mo Bamba, but like,
yeah, I don't know. It's chat's been kind of like popping off chats in the past minute or two. My phone's almost dead. I'm gonna have to plug it in.
I really liked. Well, Doncic was my number 1 player in that draft. Bamba was 2, and Mikal Bridges was 3 for me. And I said this at the time. Both Mikal and Mikal would have been great on Philly, I think, and Bamba would have been better on another team. So I was kind of disappointed by the teams that got those guys. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it last post game show. Yeah, I said I liked him in the draft. I still kind of like him as a prospect. He still has the size and athleticism to be a good center in this league. He's just stuck behind a really good center right now.
Yeah, he's not in a good position. He's not in a good position at all. I wish Bamba ended up somewhere else in the Eastern Conference, a place, like Cleveland, where he'd get the opportunity to start. Even though that's kind of the most toxic locker room culture in the entire league right now, with the players not liking Beeline, and Kevin Love's been having issues there, and we can talk about that a little later. But I wish Bamba was somewhere else.
Like, even on a team like Boston right now, I mean, he would have been given an opportunity on like a winning team. I don't know, like, and he wouldn't have like this really good center in front of him to beat out for minutes, so he would have gotten every opportunity to win a rotational spot. But
yeah, but back to Obi. Just because Jake said perceived upside is viewed as sort of a low because of his questionable shooting and shot creation. I do like his form. I do like Obi's form, man. I think it's smooth, kind of a one motion shot. He has some, he kind of has his hand on the side of the ball and has some, palm rotation forwards. But I think that if he can become a good shooter, he'll be at least a Tobias Harris level player, probably better. Just because he's like more athletic, I think might be able to be a little better defender. Tobias Harris wasn't really a good shooter coming into the league and developed his shot to the point that now he's a knockdown 3-point shooter, can pull up off the dribble. I think Obi has the potential to be the same and then be better in other areas of the game. I kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Tobias is probably a little better at creating shots, but I do like.
But he wasn't really a shot creator coming into the league. That's the thing.
That's true.
And like Obi shows flashes here or there of in and out crossover into a pull up, or in and out like little hesitation into a pull up. Like he shows flashes here and there of shot creation where it's like, okay, he might have the potential to expand off that. I mean, like. He's showing more potential for like shot creation than a guy like Pascal Siakam did in college. You know what I mean? Like, so just as like the flashes I see give me hope that he can, do that.
He was talking about Avdija, not.
Avdija. Gotcha. I think Toppin kind of has the same concerns too, so I think all that's pretty valid. But yeah, Avdija,
Tobias doesn't have the ups though, like the quick ups that Toppin has. On like alley-oops and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. Like that's the thing too. If we got Toppin, man, I just want to run the floor more because that dude will be a terror in the open court. Like he's so quick and such a fantastic lob threat. Really hope we would speed up the offense. Run in transition, look for fast break buckets if we ended up somehow getting Toppin. But yeah, I mean, Avdija, his shooting is questionable, but I mean, like, Doncic wasn't a great shooter his rookie year, and I thought Doncic's shooting was kind of questionable. He'd get hot, but I think that might have been the question mark with him. And then the other question mark was, is he like quick enough to really create his own shot? And then he comes in here and he's absolutely insane. Obviously, Avdija is not Doncic. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like Avdija, I don't know. I just like the way he moves on the court. I like the way he looks. I don't know. I have a good feeling about Avdija. I need to watch more of him, but his shot doesn't look terrible form-wise either. I think he can develop his shot. Avdija. Yeah, see, I thought it might be that. The J is silent. Appreciate that. We're going to sound smarter now.
You're not going to like this, Tori. Toilet Cogger called you Hazonia. You got the Hazonia haircut. I think
Hey,
you prefer Hero, right?
Hazonia isn't a bad looking dude, so I'll be fine with that. I'll be fine with that. I think the haircut looks good, just as long as the ladies like it, right?
Yep. Jake Carey has brought up someone who I always thought Toppin kind of reminded me of with a little better 3-point shot, and that's Amari.
Yeah,
Um, but not
a
quite as
little more like
physical.
modern day Amari, if that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Get the Tolliver haircut? No, not until I have to. Uh, chick, Torio Hazonia. Anyway, how'd your yeah? So your stream on what was it? Friday? How was
Yeah.
that? How was that,
I
man?
what I felt like I really struggled for the first like 20 to 30 minutes, but then chat got me going, and I thought we had a pretty good conversation. I was gonna like shut it down like several times, and people were like, "No, keep going." So I ended
Yeah,
up
you got
going
that
like two and
support,
a half
man.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah, I heard you clowning me a little bit. I heard you.
gotta clown you a little
I
bit.
was gonna cut up clips and make you seem really bad. Just strip out the context and cut up the clip so you just like talking trash.
That'd be funny.
One you said you were joking after. I was gonna cut that out. Then I was
Yeah.
gonna go on this whole thing like, man, I gave this man the opportunity to live his dream and host a post game show by himself solo, running the ship, and this is what he had. I give him this opportunity and he uses it to just bash me. But no, I thought you did a good job. I tried tuning in, but my data was not really cooperating. So like the chat could update, but my stream kept pausing. So I just paused the stream and I was just in the chat. So I had no idea, what you were saying to me. But it was kind of, dude, it was weird. Yeah, no, I watched a bit of it after. Hey, everybody go like this stream so Tori gets salty because we get more likes the way he has it. Yeah, okay. Nice try.
Oh, come on, that was funny.
That was funny. But yeah, and I saw the chat talking trash. Jimbo, I owe him a 300-second ban. So there
Oh,
it is. He just said Tori
shouldn't have
didn't
said
ban
anything,
me.
Jimbo.
Yeah, I completely forgot, but I forget what he said. I know I was very, it hurt my feelings deep down. I thought Jimbo was my guy, and he stabbed me in the back, thinking that I wasn't paying attention to the chat. But I can go back and watch it back. Dame Dollar, if he was in here, I think I owe him, I owe him 300-second timeout.
Oh, come on, those are my
Put him in the
guys.
corner. Get like a little like the circular carpet, and put it in the corner, and that's the timeout spot. I'll take the people out of chat and put them in that circle and put them in the timeout spot. They have to put their nose in the corner. But yeah, someone was getting booed all night. Got to give him at least one flex. Yeah, they were. We got shooters. Cool. Like they chanted that once. It's like, okay, yeah, you got him. You got him. They chanted that like 5 times. It's like, okay, we get it. You're mocking him because he said we got shooters, and you got, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league. I think.
That's kind of ironic, though.
It is. It is. Like that's I don't blame Heat fans for chanting that. It's just like after the 5th time, it's like, God damn, like we get it. You know what I mean? You guys made your point. You guys are gonna win the game. We get it.
What's up, Austin Whack?
Austin Whack.
Don't
Back in
put
the
him in a
chat.
timeout. No.
Put Austin Whack. You want me to put Austin Whack in a
No.
timeout? Hey, Eric, I don't know why, man. What'd you do to Eric, man? Eric, you guys got beef or something? Like,
No, I said don't put him in.
hey, I'll defend you, bro. I'll.
No, these are all my guys. I had a great time on the chat
These are
on
my
last
guys,
festival.
bro. These are my guys that I rent.
All right.
Like I let you rent them out for a post game stream, but they're my guys. Tori is our dad, and he gives us timeouts. Yep, especially if you clog the toilet clogger.
I forgot who it was, but someone said I was your dad. Yeah.
I know. I saw that. That was Russell first round exit Westbrook, wasn't it? That's I owe him a
I don't know who it
timeout.
was.
Because I was in the chat and I said,
Yeah.
I forget what I said, but I saw that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I literally pulled up the stream and that was like the first thing I saw in chat. I'm your son or something, and it's like, what the hell, man. Yeah, no, I had to run to Walmart to get snow boots, just because I couldn't find mine. So I was in the chat before I left, and I was in the chat at Walmart while like running around trying to find snow boots that fit my feet. And I didn't even end up needing them. Ski Bowl wasn't like, it wasn't even cold, dude. I didn't even need a snow jacket. Probably didn't need snow boots. It was weird. Like,
Did you have fun?
yeah, it was dope. It was dope, man. I love the comment when I came in here and somebody said, "Oh, Tori's sky bowling."
Yeah, that was funny.
But no, it was good. It was good to get out to the mountain. Jake Carey says, "Tori, what was with the bagging stats for matching up Hassan on Myers when that wasn't the case?" Hassan started on Myers, man. Hassan started on Myers. I mean, maybe I didn't see that right. My phone died. Crap. I mean, maybe I didn't see that right, but it's like he started on Myers. I thought. Am I wrong, Eric? Like you saw that too. I mean, maybe I was completely wrong, but it seemed like because who is the guy closing out to
the Blazers? I never know. Sometimes it feels like it's just take whoever is running down the court closest to you, and then forget who you have halfway through the possession. So
I mean, if that wasn't the case, then I apologize. But it was like it 100% seemed like it started off with Hassan guarding Myers, which would be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, which would have been a ridiculous matchup. So I mean, I guess I'll have to watch that back. But I mean, there was multiple possessions where it seemed to me that Hassan was matched up against Myers, you know, and maybe it was fast break where he had to guard Myers. You know, sometimes you got to guard who's closest, but it happened like there was like 3-4 possessions, you know, so it seemed like that's who he was matched up against. Because he was late contesting both threes. You know, Hassan was the one contesting them. I mean, obviously rotations went off, but it just seemed to me. I don't know.
And Myers, we know Myers, regardless of who was guarding him, cannot just be left open for more than a few seconds because he's got that long wind up and shot that he takes a few seconds to decide whether he's shooting or not. So you should have plenty of time to close out. There should be no cases where you're far enough away from him where you can't disrupt his shot. And he was just standing there shooting like wide open shots, and he hit 2 threes like that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So even if Whiteside was guarding him, he should have been closer and not been helping off. But I guess they have a lot of good shooters. So who do you help off of? You shouldn't really help off of many of them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was cross matchups. I mean, I'm not gonna say, you know, I don't know for sure, but
I hope Trevin's joking. He said I should have my own stream over on True Blazer Fan. We talked about that in the stream, how I'm not the Eric from True Blazer Fan.
Oh, I know. I think people were confused at first.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, you don't want to. If you had a stream over at True Blazer Fan, it would not work out well because you wouldn't be. I don't know. The guy who runs True Blazer Fan is one of those guys who's just like, let's just stay positive. Let's let's be supportive. He's just one of those guys. Like you guys know the type of guy I'm talking about. You know, nothing wrong with that. For me, when I was working with him, it was tough because I couldn't like point out as many like flaws as I needed to. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't like, I don't know. Like he got annoyed with stuff, and I guess I don't blame him. You know, it was his platform, but like really just like our styles kind of clashed. Because I'm somebody who tells it how it is, and he's like, let's just be positive. Got a hair sticking out here.
Toilet Clogger says I should change my name, or I have to change my name.
Why?
So it's not confusing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Eric Brandt is not True Blazer Fan. I feel like you guys, if you pay attention, though, you guys can realize that, especially if you pay attention to Twitter, because like the style of tweets are completely different. I don't know. I don't know. How many of you guys? I'm curious in the chat. Tori playing with his hair more than Zach Collins does. I had to poke that. It's all love from Jimbo Slice with a $5 donation. Okay, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you for the $5 donation. Now you have one free insult to me without getting banned. That's
Yes.
what you earned. There you go. Appreciate it, Jimbo.
More than Zach Collins says. That's funny.
It's more than Zach Collins does. Hey, I kind of got that Zach Collins hair. Hopefully my shoulders stay in place, man. Shit. But how many of you guys? I'm curious. So in the chat right now, say true. Like if you guys started with me on True Blazer Fan, say True Blazer Fan. If you guys only like discover my stuff from Blazers Uprise, say Blazers Uprise. Because I'm curious how many of you guys, were with me from True Blazer Fan? How many of you guys found me after that? Somebody just asked for the PayPal donation links. I'll post it right now. I won't be able to read off your donation instantly because my phone is dead. Actually, I can log on the computer. But I'm going to put it in the description. I'm putting it right now. If you guys want to donate through PayPal, you can do that as well. YouTube takes a little bit of the donation. I think it's like 25-30%. But it is cool because everybody can see the donation. It's a bright, pretty, colorful bar. Jimbo had that turquoise $5 donation bar. I think like it's different colors depending on how much you donate. When First P came through with that $100 donation, it was a red bar, which I had never seen before. And you guys gotta be patient on you know what I'm talking about. You guys gotta be patient on that because I ain't about to record with somebody in my house. I ain't about to work on that with somebody in my house.
Yeah, it does change. I'm just goofing around with it. So it's like a light blue when it's lower, and then it turns to green, turquoisey, and then it goes yellow, orange, like pink, and then red up into the hundreds.
Can donate $500. Damn. I wouldn't even know how to react, man. Red bars. Oh my god. So anyway, I'm not gonna read that off. So I still got Thunder fans in my Twitter. I think. These guys spamming. They're talking about Jeremy Grant now. I don't know why. There's like, I literally have like 8 tweets mentioning me in the last 2 minutes from that conversation. That was happening all game. Thunder fans, man, they need to quit worrying about Damian Lillard, dude. Because they're comparing both of them. God, if you guys, just go on my Twitter if you guys are interested in that. Thunder fan. Oh my god, man! I'm so tired of that fan base. I'm so tired of hearing about Russell Westbrook shooting 43%, Damian Lillard shooting 43%. So blah blah blah. Like, Damian Lillard is noticeably better from 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Their field goal percentages are the same because Dame shoots more threes, which are less efficient in terms of just percentage, but they're actually more efficient because they're worth an additional point. Tori, if you need a ghostwriter out for your rap, I got you. No, so, I'm good, Austin. Appreciate it, but I got some things in mind.
I've been thinking about this today, right?
Yeah.
I think unless you're a Thunder fan, what they're doing this year is actually bad for them long term. And
yeah,
I know Thunder fans are like all stoked because they're playing good and they don't need Westbrook anymore. But like their whole rebuild is predicated on adding lottery picks like they did with Harden and Westbrook and Durant and stuff like that, like copying that method. And they have multiple first-round picks to do that. But the better they are, and if the Clippers stay good and the Heat stay good, there's a chance none of those picks turn into lottery picks. And it's kind of like what happened with the Blazers when Aldridge left. So they were expecting to be bad, and they made the playoffs, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome,"
Yeah.
And then what do? We pretend we're way better than we are, and that next summer we pay guys way too much money, and then we get stuck for a long time. We get one lottery pick since then because we traded up to get that. And obviously we could get a lottery pick this year if we don't make the playoffs, but like that team is basically like us, only with a 10 years older point guard uh, at the time of us doing that. You know what I mean? Um, so like guys like Gallinari and Chris Paul aren't going to be part of their future,
Yeah.
and their really only good young player is SGA, and then you have like a hit or miss type home run player in Baisley if he ever develops. But other than that, it's not like they have a ton of young talent already. So if you don't add any more lottery picks to that, I mean, of course they could trade up like we did, but like they're not going to be bad enough or to get like a top 5 pick or anything. So like I just think long term, like they're like counting their eggs before they're hatched kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that. So I think it's going to be really funny in like
Yeah.
5 years when they blow this great chance they have to rebuild into something special.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, it's going to backfire because they're going to end up keeping Gallinari and Chris Paul when they could possibly get assets for them. So,
Yep.
Which would be better for them long term. So, yeah, I agree with you. I just went back and looked through because I forgot to like actually like pay attention to the answers to that question of like where you guys started with me from True Blazer fan or Blazers Uprise. We had Austin Wack, True Blazer fan, Toilet Clogger, True Blazer fan, Camping Skitter, True Blazer fan, True Blazer fan, True Blazer fan, True Blazer fan. Like lots of True Blazer fans. I was actually a bit surprised by that. A couple people, started with me with Blazers Uprise. But where was it? Rayshawn said, True Blazer fans, I remember your player season previews from True Blazer fan. That was when I first started off. Things, dude, I need to go back and go watch my first videos for True Blazer fan. Because things have changed so much, like in the past, like, little over a year. Just, like, in terms of, like, my tone in videos, in terms of, like, the way I make videos, and now I'm doing these streams. Like, it's just crazy to look back and see how much stuff has changed. It's crazy to look back, like, 2 years ago when I made content on a channel that I won't even, recommend because the content was trash, but I was just, like, trying to learn how to do YouTube. And, oh, my goodness. That's the thing. I started off doing YouTube, like, I was awkward. I was very awkward.
Westbrook says to react to you watching those videos.
Ooh, that'd be fun, man. That'd be fun. Actually, I might have to do that. Reacting to my like one of my first YouTube videos. That'd be yeah, I could roast myself. That could be fun. I need to make a list of like video ideas because I keep coming up with video ideas and then I forget and then I'm like, oh, I'll just wait for Monday for the mailbag or something like that. But yeah, anyway. Trevin's a Blazers Uprise person. Yeah, Trevin. I started off at True Blazer fan making content for him. If you don't know the backstory. Found you from True Blazer fan, but now only watch Blazers Uprise. Yeah, True Blazer fan is just like the highlights that you can find. Other places he's tried to like make his stuff a little bit more unique, but he's a highlights guy. So, where are we at in terms of your season breakdown, and where are we ending up based on it? What do you mean by that, Tommy Thompson? Austin Wax says, I've been getting fat. Let's get some basketball games running. If we lived in San Diego, Austin, then yeah, we could get some basketball games running, but it's cold and it's wet. And ain't nobody want to be playing outside in the Pacific Northwest in January. But once spring rolls around, we're gonna get some games running. You guys can meet me. Yo Mama says I started on this channel too. Bro, you never read my comments. Yo Mama, that's because I can't read your comments out loud, and you know exactly why I can't read your comments out loud, man. You know exactly why, and I think this chat knows exactly why too. Yeah, I like outdoor, but the weather is crap right now. Bro, that's nuts. I can't shoot outside. I suck at shooting outside. I don't know why. Shout out to Cody Coons for the $10 donation. I finally turned my phone back on. Just let it charge up a little bit. I got it on that mobile charger because my actual charger doesn't really work. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know how to say your username. Dionysus Pogite? I don't know how to say that man's username. But left a message with a $10 donation on PayPal saying, good job. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, bro. Yo Mama is just another level of weird. Yeah, yeah. I can't read that man's comments or female's comment. Maybe Yo Mama is a female. I don't know. Um, Yo-Yo's crazy. I know. What'd you go do, Eric? I heard that mic mute.
My computer is about to die, and I'm in a location where I didn't have my charger because I'm trying to
Gotcha.
stay
Yeah,
away from the kids making noise.
keep that, because I need to go get some water. I swallowed something weird like 3 days ago, and it still feels like the back of my throat feels weird. I don't know. So I'm gonna need to get some water. So I'm gonna leave you solo for like 2 minutes, as long as you're good to go. You good to go?
Yep.
All right. You can run this ship for 2 minutes. Don't crash it. Don't let it burn. And I'll be back.
So when I was mentioning the OKC situation earlier, Jake Carey came back at me with Abdel Nader and someone else. I don't think those guys are quite franchise changing young guys. Lugens Dort, yeah. A guy in a two-way contract is really going to change the direction of their team in the future, Jake. What do you guys think of Torrey's haircut for real now that he's not here? I know you're just joking, Jake. So am I. It's fire. You guys like it? Went way too high. Yeah, I can't pull off the high one. I gotta have to like fade it. That's why I just cut it all one length, really short. Now I got my 3-year-old in here with me. Yeah, Jake, you called it. I wonder where Tori went. Guys think we have a chance of beating Toronto? Eric, Phil. Yeah, I'm probably gonna shave my beard in the next day or two because I don't like it when it gets long. I like it nice and trim. How it was on that last stream is about as long as I usually make it. But I just give myself the free haircut just to use the blade and shave it. In case you guys aren't on Twitter, so my idea for trades right now that I'm totally on board with is trading Whiteside for Gorgie Jang and Robert Covington, like I always talk about, and then Bazemore and stuff for Rose and Tony Snell. Then you have Snell, Covington, Hood as your wings next year. You got Rose, Simons, Damon, CJ as your guards, Nurt, Collins, Jang, and a re-signed Scal as your bigs. You go out, use the MLE to the mid-level exception to fill a hole, maybe like a power forward or a combo small forward, power forward type player. I think that's best case scenario, especially better than doing like a Kevin Love type trade. Randall Pink Floyd says he does not like the Rose Snell trade. It's basically just trying to get guys with those mid-range contracts that are under contract next year so that this summer we can address because what's going to happen if we don't do that, like if we traded for Gallinari or Iguodala or just let Bazemore and Whiteside walk, then you're talking about a situation where this summer you have Damon, CJ, and Nurk, and then you have a bunch of guys on lower contracts or rookie deals. So, like, let's say Carl Anthony Towns becomes available, you have like no contracts other than CJ and Nurk to trade for Cat. Whereas if you have Jang, Rose, and Snell, you can get up to, 30, 35 million or so coming back in, and then you give up, 3 future firsts and some young players and stuff like that. Whereas if we don't have that option this summer, we're kind of like if Cat becomes available, it's either going to be, do they want CJ, and if not, we have no way of getting him.
So I'm back. Dionysus said, "Tori, gotta get my shout out, bro. I already shouted you out. I shouted out your PayPal donation, and then I tried to say your name, and which is your YouTube name. But yeah, you said good job, bro, and I said I appreciate it. This dude played $60 at Supercuts for this haircut. No, it was a $20 haircut. Tori totally spent the break in front of the mirror. Why would I spend it in front? That's funny, but why would I spend it in front of the mirror if I literally have my stream feed right here? I know. So, yeah, your little shot there didn't work out, man.
Did you get that one hair sticking out while you were gone, though?
No, I fixed that before I left. My hair's
okay. I'm just joking.
Top notch, I think.
I don't think Carmelo's going to be in our plans after this season. I think it'll be kind of a mutual parting of the ways, unless it was like last summer where he gets no interest, and then maybe I could see him re-signing with us for the minimum next year because he still wants to play. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think we really need him next year like we both needed each other this year. Jake Carey says he wished the free agent market was better. Fear our expirings don't hold that much value. That's true, but like a team like Detroit and Minnesota too are pushing like luxury tax territory with the teams they have. And well, this year, I guess this summer it's not quite as bad, but my daughter will not stop talking. But yeah, if they're rebuilding, they just would make those moves to get money off the book next year. It's not necessarily for free agents this summer. It's just to clear up some space for next year. Because, I mean, what's the point of having a guy like Snell in Detroit when they suck? You don't want to pay that guy $11-12 million.
Yeah. So Snell, Jang. I mean, maybe honestly, at this point, I'd take a very early second and maybe take on Batum for Whiteside. Like, if we're going to tank the rest of the season and we can't get something better for that expiring, like, we're not going to have enough cap space to make anything happen, and we'd have to let guys walk that we wouldn't be able to replace, and we'd have to give up the mid-level exception, which is almost as much as the amount of cap space we could have anyway. So it makes no sense to pursue cap space. So in the end, it's like, okay, so we're going to be over the salary cap. Maybe it makes more sense, maybe it makes sense to take on Batum and a very early second-round pick because I think they have Golden State's, if I recall correctly. I forget. They have an early second-round pick, though. Charlotte does.
Dallas is the one that has Golden State's.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Charlotte has Cleveland's, maybe?
Yeah.
I'll look it up right now.
But yeah, I mean, you get Batum. You don't really get Batum to like help out the team, so to say. He's not really a helpful player anymore, but you get an early second round pick, which you could maybe get somebody solid for, draft somebody meaningful. But then next season, Batum's contract is expiring. You can use that to match salary if you want to trade for a star. Where if you chase cap space or you let these guys expire, you're going to have Dame, CJ, Nurkic. You're not going to trade one of those guys, and then you'd have whoever you sign for the mid-level exception or whoever you sign for the cap space. That would only be $10-12 million. Even if Rodney Hood opts in, that's only like $18 million that you'd be sending out if you were trading the guy you signed and like Rodney Hood. All the other salary is going to be very minimal if you let those expirings expire.
I went through all that when you were gone.
Do you? Okay.
I said like that exact same thing with.
Well, I didn't pay attention. Yeah. Well, there you go.
With Snell and Jang and Rose and those kind of guys.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And like if I was saying if Cat became available this summer and we didn't trade for anyone under contract next season, that we're basically either hoping that they won't want CJ, but that doesn't help us as much as in terms of getting him without giving up CJ.
Yeah.
But I just don't see Minnesota wanting CJ. So then you're talking about like Nurk and a bunch of young players, and I don't know if that'll add up to getting Cat very easily with roster spots and all that. So you're pretty much out of the running for him before you even offer
Yeah.
him a trade. Whereas if you have, like you mentioned, Batum, you can trade him basically and like Simons and Little and 3 draft picks or something, and that the
Yeah.
money works out then.
I still have a feeling we're gonna get Otto Porter Jr.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because or not Terry, Neil Olshey has a way of getting the guys he's going after, or that he's gone after in the past, once they've lost value. You know what I mean? Like now, Otto Porter Jr. has like lost value. Now I think Olshey is gonna trade Whiteside for like Otto Porter Jr. Maybe a second round pick, even depending on how much Chicago wants off his contract, because he's gonna opt into that $27 million that he has a player option for next year. So I feel like that's where we're going to end up going. And that's, a $27 million expiring contract next year, but he could actually end up helping the team where,
Right.
compared to
Batum
Batum,
yeah.
who couldn't. Like Otto Porter Jr., I think if he gets back to kind of the player he was in Washington, and if he gets healthy, he could be a helpful piece. But if that foot is bad, Jake Carey says, I think I'll take more unless that foot is really bad. I think.
Well, he's got a hip issue too. He's saying he think it'll take more to acquire him.
Maybe, but I mean, Chicago only traded expirings for him in the first place.
Yeah,
it was expirings that had potential. Jabari Parker,
and he
Bobby
hasn't done
Portis.
anything for them.
But Washington let those two guys walk. So basically traded Otto Porter Jr. for nothing. Let me just read Jimbo's last comment real quick. He said, "Gotta take off to my friends. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you for making me feel better about my life when the Blazers are ass right now. Tori, you look good with the new dude, or with the new do. Peace out. One love. See you, man. Have a good night."
Jimbo.
But yeah, I mean, even if Otto Porter Jr. has a bad hip, it's still a good move just because that's an expiring contract. Even if he doesn't really help the team, that's something that could help a move. But back to Chicago, I think they might move him just to get off that salary. Not that they necessarily do something with it, but they've been notoriously cheap. They're not winning games. He's hurt. Like, if you can get an expiring for him, I mean, I don't think they really care about having him back next season for $27 million. So if you can get him off the books, like, why not? I don't think there's going to be that many suitors out there for Otto Porter Jr. Maybe there is a market, but I think it might just take an expiring.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather, if you're giving me a choice of Whiteside and maybe a second for Porter Jr. versus Whiteside for Batum and getting a second back, I'd probably take the Otto Porter Jr. trade.
I would too. Yeah, 100%.
Even if he was out for the rest of the year, I'd still make that trade.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be so interesting, man. Trade season's almost upon us, and it's going to be the most interesting trade season in maybe in the Dame era, honestly. We've thought it's going to be interesting in the past, but it hasn't been. Last season we had the most moves I think we've ever done with Damian Lillard on our team, and that was trading for Rodney Hood, swapping Swanigan for Scal, who didn't have an impact last season, and then buyout market and his Cantor. I don't know if you count that as part of like the trade deadline stuff, but we made some moves. You know what I mean? I was a bit disappointed after the trade deadline that I was only getting Rodney Hood. I wanted an Otto Porter Jr. or something like that. All right, I'll catch you later. Eddie says it's 4 a.m. here in Sweden. Always enjoy your podcast. The haircut is fresh. I'm wishing y'all the good for the rest of the day. Good night. I appreciate you tuning in at 4 a.m., man. Much love. But yeah, so I honestly forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about?
The buyout market and trades.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff, yeah.
The last big trade we've made, I guess you could say Aflalo was a big trade, but that was a role player in my opinion. a role player, like a sixth man type of guy, and so was Rodney Hood. The last time we made like a big trade for like a legit starter was Gerald Wallace.
Well,
Obviously you're not counting Gerald Wallace for the sixth pick as being like,
right.
I mean like for like a trade to win or to help us out in the short
Well,
term. We haven't made a trade like that since acquiring Gerald Wallace.
I mean, in the nerd trade, we did trade our starting center. So,
Yeah, but that was more of like a payment thing. We're getting this young center back. Who knows we could be? I mean, like somebody like already established as a good NBA starter. We haven't made a trade like that in, I don't know, in a while. So I mean, we'll see because that's a possibility this year. It might not happen. But would you guys trade Simons for Derek White? That's interesting, but probably not. Derek White's better now, but I think Simons will be better in 2 to 3 years, and this year's a loss, so really you're only looking at an improvement next year, if that makes sense. But I think there's a chance Simons could be as good as Derek White next year. I like Simons. I like his upside. I think he's starting to put it together right now. Derek White's legit, but I don't know. I feel like Anthony gives the team a better chance of winning a championship in the Dame era because of the upside that Anthony has. I feel like he has a higher ceiling than Derek White does. I feel like White's never going to be much more than what he is right now. And I feel like Anthony has a solid chance at being better than that. So what about you, Eric?
yeah, I completely agree. White's a nice player, but I don't think he has the upside of Simon. So, in this particular case, where I mean, White over Simons is the difference between a championship or not. So, I think I'd rather have the guy who could explode and be a star versus a guy who's going to be like a solid player.
Yeah.
In our situation. Or on a rebuilding team. If we were like maybe last year, I would probably consider that one. Just in a situation where we're a little better, but like, I don't think Derek White gets to the point where you could trade CJ and be fine. He'd be a nice third guard, but like, Simons could be that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he will be for sure, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good question though. This is a great question actually. I mean, Derek White is he's a good defender. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good defender, but Anthony, his defense, man, he's showing signs of having the potential to be a good defender, in my opinion, because he can do a good job of staying in front of defenders already, or staying in front of offensive players already. Like, he has some lateral quickness, and he's kind of able to stay in front of guys. His team D is really bad, just like Jake Carey said, he beat me to the punch. But yeah, his team D is bad, and that needs to improve, but I feel like that'll improve with experience. Maybe a different coach might help that a little bit more. I know Jake doesn't agree with that, but I think he does a good job defending on the perimeter. Jake says he has no strength to guard more than point guards. That's in the low post, in my opinion. On the perimeter, I think he can contain point guards, shooting guards, small forwards. You know what I mean? Like, he can contain the dribble drive. We saw it against Utah. He did so with Bogdanovich. I think we've seen it at other points this season where he's been able to stay in front of bigger guys and not really get pushed from the perimeter all the way down to the rim. Like, he's able to guard, like, shooting guards just fine, you know, unless he gets, like, posted up, you know. But CJ has that problem, too. And so that's the thing. Is like, in terms of perimeter defender, guarding guys on the perimeter, I think he has the potential to be good. I think he'll be a good defender once his team defense improves, because that's, like, really the one area where he really, really struggles in right now. But with his lack of experience, that's to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
CJ for Exum, yeah, hell no, Leo.
So we got a Heat fan in here, Hilson, saying we got shooters. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. It is.
You guys chanted that too much. It was funny the first time, and it got like, okay, we get it after the fifth time. Like, you guys got great shooters. We know, we get it.
Yeah, it was ironic that he got traded from a team and said we got shooters when his team is now way better than
They
us
didn't
shooting.
really have shooters last year though.
Yeah,
They struggled to shoot the ball last year, and now all of a sudden you got Duncan Robinson coming in here and Myers Leonard coming in there. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like he wasn't wrong in terms of like they didn't have shooters last year.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, this Heat team is a much better shooting team than they ever had around Hassan, and I feel like Heat
yeah.
fans were a little too sensitive with that comment. Like the, I don't know, man. You can tell that like hurt them in a way. You know what I mean? Like they've held on to that. They've latched on to that. You know how many Heat fans I've seen say that? I've seen it so much. Like they can't move past that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like
Jake's right. He just says stuff. He tries to be a little
oh,
out
I
there
know
on
that's the
like
thing.
Instagram
Like
and
you
stuff.
can't take Hassan like that seriously. Instead, they're like running with that and chanting it 5 times a game. Like I don't know. Hassan just has fun. So the real question is, did anyone really miss CJ tonight? That's something we could talk about. The team scored 111 points without CJ. Would they have scored more if they had CJ?
Maybe I don't. I mean, obviously it helps our depth right now because
Yeah,
that's the main problem with all those other injuries. We can't afford to lose another starter right now. So, um, but yeah, I don't know if we would have necessarily scored more points. What's our season average? I'll look that up right now.
like 109, I think. I'm gonna look up the box score. I haven't read off the box score, and that could maybe help us answer that question. I mean, Anthony had 19 points and 4 assists on 8 for 15 shooting, so he kind of. You guys don't want to hear that. He kind of replaced CJ's production. He played 34 minutes, so he like that 19 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds on 8 for 15 shooting. That's kind of like CJ's production. Obviously, if Simons replaces CJ, who replaces Simons?
Certainly wasn't Trent.
Yeah, it wasn't Trent. Trent struggled today. Kind of disappointing to see.
Going in tonight, we averaged 112.3, so right around the average.
Okay.
We'd give up 113, so our defense was worse, but it's been really bad lately.
Yeah, and they didn't have Jimmy Butler. But yeah, so I mean, Anthony had 19 off the bench. Hazonia had his second solid game in a row. He had a couple blocks, couple steals, an assist, a turnover, 10 points on 4 for 6 shooting in 20 minutes. It doesn't like surprise me to see him have a good game here or there, a couple good drives. I mean, he's not going to do that consistently. These last 2 games, he's not going to do these consistently. It's not going to become an every game thing for him. So I don't
Who's
want
that?
Hazonia.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want Blazer fans to start thinking like, "Oh, this is
No,
who we expected.
You're wrong.
This is who we expected to see. Like, this is he just needed to like figure things out and then get healthy from his back spasms, and now this is what we were expecting at the start of the season." He's not going to do this consistently. He's had like flashes of much better games in these past 2, and then he's ended up having horrible outings and falling out of rotations, or I mean, like these aren't even like that bright of flashes. These are just 2 solid games. Fans are excited, or like they notice it because he had been playing horribly before he got hurt. He hadn't been doing anything close to this, but I wouldn't expect it to necessarily continue. Hopefully it does. I'd love to see it continue.
Yeah,
Don't expect it.
if you could just score 6 to 8 points on decent percentages, and play better defense, it'd be fine. But yeah, probably asking too much.
Yeah. I mean, just mercy. Well, you don't want to. The ad keeps playing. The ad keeps playing, so I have to mute it because it's playing through my stream. But I'm on the ESPN site, so these ads keep popping up and stop unmuting. But Hassan Whiteside had 21 and 18 with 2 blocks, 9 for 12 shooting. So that's a good game from Hassan. Dame had 34 and 12 with 3 steals. Dame was 11 for 22, 6 for 12 from 3, 6 for 7 from the free throw line. Hit some tough threes. Hit that sidestep 3, that rattle around and in. Hit that pull-up 3 in transition. Dame had a good game. Carmelo kind of struggled, 3 for 11 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 11 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Wasn't the best game for Carmelo. He had 2 good games in a row, didn't really keep that up. Bazemore still being garbage, man. 2 for 9 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3, 7 points. He did have 9 rebounds, but that's the only thing to look at. He had 4 fouls as well in 35 minutes. Got lost defensively. Bazemore is not a good defender. He hasn't been a good defender for us. He gets lost too much and he fouls too much. He'll get steals here and there. He'll close out well, make some good defensive plays, but he has many mistakes that kind of offset that.
I hate when he drives and he tries to shoot a side floater.
Oh, I know.
And when he drives, he can sometimes draw on the defense. It's same thing we talk about with CJ sometimes. If he just looks to pass instead of shoot, I think he would open up some avenues doing that. But yeah, some of those shots they never go in. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean,
especially this year. I know in the past he's hit some of those, but yeah.
I don't know, dude. The way he finishes is just so loose and out of control. Even if he's driving at 50% speed, it's still he's out of control. Honestly, I have more confidence in Aminu driving and finishing than Bazemore.
Mm-hmm.
Bazemore shot a horrible percentage around the rim. I mean, Aminu always looked out of control, but his finishes, I think, were in control for the most part. At least they were last year. Aminu improved a lot in terms of his finishing. Bazemore, I feel looks a little bit more in control when he drives, and then his finishes are just wild. That little, yeah, he does shoot it from the side and kind of, rotates his shoulder through. I don't even know how to describe it, man. It's rough. Aminu's handle was so bad. I thought Aminu's handle improved last year. I thought I don't know. Aminu literally had, less than a turnover a game. Would have 0.7 or 0.8 turnovers per game last season, something like that. And he just looked out of control. But he was able to. I don't know. I thought his handle became underrated. I thought he improved it, and fans didn't really notice it because it still didn't look the prettiest. But he was more in control and didn't really turn over the ball last year. I thought Aminu was underrated last year because he was efficient too. His finishing improved. His 3-point percentage was only 34%, but his percentage from 2-point range from inside the arc was a career high, I think. If not, it was close, and it was a big improvement over the previous couple seasons. His true shooting percentage was 56, 57% with that defense. Aminu was solid last year. I don't know. Thoughts on Sekou Doumbouya's debut in his past games? I haven't been paying attention. Has he been playing for them?
The last 2 games he started, got doubles in both. It's 10 and 11 his first start, and I think 16 and 11 or 10 or something like that in his next game.
I have to go watch those highlights because I was intrigued with him in the draft, and he fell to Detroit. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there, and he fell to 15th, 16th?
It was 15, yeah.
Yeah, 15th. So that was a good pickup by Detroit. He has the potential to be a solid player, I think. I'll have to go watch that.
I think they're playing the Lakers tonight. That game just started.
Yeah, you got Lakers already up to a 10-2 lead, 2.5 minutes into the game. You got Memphis about to win another one against Phoenix in Phoenix. Memphis, once they win this game, they're going to have the same record as us.
Sweet.
They're going to have the same.
We're technically only 3 games out of the 5th worst spot.
Hey, draft that tank. I forget.
Yeah.
I had a motto for Obi Toppin for tanking for Obi Toppin, but I forget it rhymed.
It was tanking for Toppin, wasn't it?
No, it was something that It was something better than that.
Dropping for topping.
It was something like that. Yeah, but like the something rhymed with this first name too. God, I'm
I don't
mad I
remember.
forgot that. Nah, I don't even think I said it to you. Dude, you know
But
who's been playing great though? Valanciunas. He has 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He's been phenomenal. 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. He's been great. You look at that Grizzlies team, like they got Brandon Clark, Valanciunas, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant. Like that's a good core group of guys. Um, they were one of my overs for the wins. So was OKC. I should have put money on these teams. I still got to go back and look at that.
it'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline because they have a lot of expiring vets that they could trade.
I feel like they'll. I feel like they might cash in on Valanciunas if there's a team out there that wants him because he's only making $50 million a year, so it's easier for like Boston to go out and get him without giving up somebody. But they like their centers. I don't know. It would make sense to like cash in on Valanciunas when he's playing great right now, and then put Brandon Clark as the starting power forward, move Jaren Jackson to the starting center.
They should trade him to Boston to get their pick back.
Yeah, Boston's probably keeping that. But that pick,
Yeah, I know.
actually, with the way they're playing, that pick's going to go to Boston this year as like 10th overall, 11th overall pick. Um,
Oh, so Jake Carey has your tag phrase. At least Terry got us Obi.
at least Terry got us Obi. I'm so mad that I forgot my motto because it was a good one, I thought. But, God, I'm so mad. I'm going to have to remember that and then tweet it or something. Yeah, the Suns, all their fans were talking so much trash. They literally have Devin Booker dropping 40 points on 13 for 20 shooting, and they lost at home to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Clippers barely beat the Knicks. They beat the Knicks by 3, and they had Paul George playing, no Kawhi. I guess this is our Around the NBA segment. They had 32 from Paul George, 32 from Lou Williams, 34 from Montrezl Harrell. But they gave up 38. They gave up 38 points to Marcus Morris.
Yeah, he went off.
24 to RJ Barrett, who might have had his most efficient night of his career, 7 for 11. Yeah, you had Minnesota beating Cleveland. Minnesota dropped 118. Cleveland had 103. Minnesota was led by Gorgie Jang, who had 22 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks. Remember KJ telling me that
and
he should retire? 4 3-pointers. Remember that argument with KJ saying
needs to
that he should retire?
He's too slow.
He's trash because he looked bad against us. I need to tag him in that or something. Hey man, he'd be a good backup center in Nurkic if they wanted off his contract. I'm just saying. Shabazz shot 8 for 10, had 21.7 assists. Shabazz has been awful this year, but he looked good. Jarrett Culver had 14. Wiggins had 15. Wiggins' efficiency has fallen off. Wiggins is kind of regressing back to who he was in the past. He did get 4 assists, so he's still kind of making more plays than he's used to. Covington had 15. Dante Exum had 28 off the bench for the Cavs. I saw somebody talking about him earlier in the chat. 28 points in 24 minutes. 11 for 13 from the field. 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. That's impressive. Probably a career high. Zizic had 15 off the bench. Sexton 19. Garland 14. Kevin Love didn't play.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, because somebody asked about that at the start of the stream. Yeah, let's go into that. So
he's throwing an absolute baby tantrum right now.
I don't blame him though. I don't blame him. On that play, he wasn't mad at Colin Sexton. Everybody thought he was mad at Colin Sexton. He was mad at John Beilein because John Beilein was like calling for him to do something when he had Chris Paul on him. Obvious mismatch that they should have thrown into him. And Beilein wanted to run down the clock and then have Love pop up or something. And Love. I don't know if you guys haven't seen the clip. You should go watch it. I don't know how you'd find it, but it's been on Twitter. It's been all over Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter,
Well, there's another play where Love goes back on defense and is just standing with his back to the play while the guy drives behind him and lays it in.
yeah. If you guys don't know the clips we're talking about, then you guys might not understand the segment. But
Love pouted in the middle of the game and basically
that
just
defensive possession, there was 2 minutes left. They were down 20.
I know, but you still can't.
And he was guarding the guy in the corner, and he was just kind of like walking back while the other guy drove by. I don't know. Like that was nothing to me, man. I don't blame him for being fed up with Cleveland. I don't blame him for wanting out of Cleveland. I don't blame him for not playing defense. 2 minutes left in the game. I don't think that's like, I don't know, man. That's not a problem to me.
To me, it is because, I mean, he just signed that contract last offseason after LeBron left. So, like, what did he expect? Like, was he thinking they were going to be good or something? I know their owners thought they were still going to make the playoffs without LeBron, which
he expected.
Laughed at him about.
I mean, I don't think he expected them to hire John Beilein, who hasn't been a good hire so far. I thought he would be a good hire, but I mean, when you hire college coaches, man, like Beilein's too like old school, or like too much of a college coach to handle NBA players correctly, I think. So like players apparently have been fed up with John Beilein and the way he coaches, and then you got Colin Sexton, who's an absolute ball stopper, ball hog. People think CJ McCollum's bad, but at least CJ McCollum's a shooting guard. Colin Sexton is basically their point guard. I mean, I guess it could be Garland too, but both are kind of the same way. Sexton's rough, man. He's a ball stopper. He pounds the ball. Like, he just does not seem like a fun player to play with. You got a bad coach there.
You still can't do what you did. Like, I mean, he's got to do it privately, I think.
Yeah, Jake Curry says, too much harping in film sessions from Beilein, long film sessions, 2-a-day practices, too much of a focus on fundamentals, which I guess is, maybe the opposite problem we have. It's, you know what I mean? That's the other side of the coin. But, yeah, I mean, and for a guy like Kevin Love, you're not going to like a coach like that. And he got mad at John Beilein in the game. It looked like he was mad at Colin Sexton, but he was mad at John Beilein. I mean, I don't. Yeah, you can sit here and say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. He can't be doing that. I mean, the dude's human, and the dude's in probably the most toxic situation in the entire NBA with a bunch of young players. One of whom, in Sexton, I think plays pretty selfishly. I don't really blame him for getting frustrated, and I mean, like, guys are gonna show their emotions, I think. I mean, I don't know. Like, yes, you can sit here and say, like, oh yeah, you shouldn't do that. I mean, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong, but it's not a huge deal to me. It's not. I don't know. I feel like some people are making too big of a deal out of it. If he ended up going and playing for a contending team, he's not gonna be doing that.
Oh yeah, that's not what I'm saying either. But I don't know. I mean, everyone knew Cleveland was going to be a terrible team for the foreseeable future. So I just don't get why anyone would be that upset with. Yeah, I don't know. And the funny thing is, the extension cost Love a chance to play for a good team last year, because if he didn't sign that extension, his contract would have been an awesome contract to have his bird rights for last summer, for like any number of contending teams, including us. Yeah. But instead, he signs that contract, and so instead of being expiring that year, he's got 4 more years at 30 plus years old, and no one wants the contract now. So like, he's stuck there because of the contract he signed and agreed to, knowing that the situation wasn't going to be good anytime soon. I know the coach wasn't the same. Who coached him last year? I'm blanking on that.
I don't remember. Chat might know. Yes, Alex, I'm sporting the fresh new cut. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Forgettable. It wasn't
Uh,
Ty Lue still, right?
no, no. God, I forget. Somebody drop it in the chat for us. Which franchise is more poorly run, the Knicks or the Cavs? I'd still say the Knicks right now because the Knicks have been poorly ran
Uh,
for years.
that's right. It was Tyronn Lue, and they fired him towards the beginning of the year, and then it was
Yeah,
Larry
and that was
Drew,
Drew.
and
Yep.
they went through that thing where they didn't want to pay him. They tried to extend him, but like basically as assistant coach money or something, and they wouldn't pay him full coach money. And
Ridiculous, man.
yeah, yeah.
Ridiculous. Um, where do you think Kevin Love ends up?
Ah,
My answer is probably going to surprise you. I want to hear
Portland.
your answer first.
I don't know. I think we're gonna do something dumb and take him.
I don't think so. I think that's just fan driven stuff. Um, I don't know. I think I think Orlando might get him.
That'd be weird for
I
me.
think you might see something around like Aaron Gordon for Kevin Love. Because I mean, Aaron Gordon has like 3 years left, declining contract, but like 19 million, 17.5 million, like 60 million or something like that, which is like an overpayment. But I mean, he's still young. Orlando's
Someone said, "Man, really said
Hey
Orlando
man,
though."
if I'm right on that, I
I
mean, think about it. I mean, like
well,
Aaron Gordon's struggling right now, but if you're Cleveland, like you're probably not going to get like a great asset back, and you might look at Aaron Gordon and be like, okay, that guy still has the potential to be something. And he matches salary, and he plays that position. And we could slot him in where he played Kevin Love, and you could orchestrate something around that. For Orlando, it's like they're trying to win games. You know what I mean? They just extended Vucevic. They, you know, need a little bit more shooting, in my opinion. Jonathan Isaac is out for 2 months, so if they want to like be in the playoffs and maybe make a little bit of noise, they need additional firepower. I mean, you don't have a horrible team, around him. Once Isaac gets back, you got Fournier who's balling out this year. You got Vucevic. You got Fultz who's like okay. Maybe you do something around like Aaron Gordon, and you'd have to add a little bit of salary to him. I don't know who, and you might have to give up another asset. I'm not sure, but I think it
I
might end up making sense.
I kept thinking going into the season that they were gonna do something dumb, but like for a guard like DeRozan or Chris Paul or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, Not necessarily for a big because I mean we already talked about the Vucevic Bomba
I mean, they could
situation.
still do something for like a DeRozan, you know what I mean? And getting like that
Yeah,
stretch forward would make sense to like add DeRozan too. Um, like DeRozan, Fournier, Love, Vucevic, whoever the point guard is, Fultz, but Fultz doesn't really fit with DeRozan. I don't know. Like that's an intriguing core. And they might be ready to move on from Aaron Gordon. I just feel like Cleveland might look at Aaron Gordon and be like, okay, that's a 23-year-old prospect who's under contract for a few years. Um, it
see, I
might make
think it's
sense.
more sneaky for like if you're gonna pick a random team, it would be like Phoenix or Sacramento. I think.
I don't feel like Phoenix is random because they're attached to like everybody who's available.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, but the one dark horse to me is Denver. Because you don't hear anything about Denver really in trade rumors,
I think
and
they're
they have
playing too well though.
I don't know they just lost to Washington.
Yeah. Jake Carey
uh,
says I could see Brooklyn, but matching salary is tough. Brooklyn makes a ton of sense because they need a power forward, but yeah, matching salary is not really gonna be possible. And I don't think Denver either because Millsap's playing freaking phenomenal. Unless you had Kevin Love
but
as the third big, then
the,
possibly.
the problem for them is assuming Jeremy Grant opts out of his $9 million contract, you have Millsap, Grant, Plumlee, all free agents. They basically only have Jokic under contract for
I think
next
they'll
year
be
as
able to
big.
bring back Millsap though.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't think he'll end up going anywhere. I mean, Millsap's killing it. So I mean, maybe Love's makes sense to be the third the third big. But
Horford for Love. Tommy Thompson's idea.
You know what? You know what would also another sneaky team would be Indiana trading Miles Turner for him because Miles Turner, they've been rumored to possibly be looking to move Miles Turner. I think Sabonis is more of a center than a power forward. Cleveland needs like a center for the future, a rim protector with the two guards they have. So Miles Turner and maybe McDermott and they don't really have picks. I mean, maybe Miles Turner straight up for Kevin Love makes sense for both teams. Uh, you know, Indiana's
Sure,
trying to
doesn't
win
make
this
enough,
year.
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that one? I feel like that's also a really good sneaky
Y-
destination.
Yeah, well, Turner only makes 18 mil, so you'd have to throw in somebody else. But
McDermott works, or maybe you I don't know. Maybe you take back like Thompson and actually no, that doesn't make sense.
we
Uh,
talked about
make
we
something
talked.
about that.
People have mentioned Boston a lot in the chat and on Twitter and stuff. And yeah, if they get in the Love or Andre Drummond situations, that that bodes well for us trying to get a Gordon Hayward because neither Detroit or Cleveland would want Gordon Hayward, and that's like pretty much the only player that makes sense for Boston to trade for. One of those bigs that's making in the upper 20s, low 30 millions. So yeah, I would love if Boston did get in that, but I don't think they're going to trade Hayward.
I don't think Boston makes a trade at all.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't think they make a move at all. They've shown in the past that they're going to be patient, and not much makes sense for them that's out there.
yeah,
I mean,
and like I mentioned this before, but I think they actually like their big man situation,
yeah.
even though
Um,
it doesn't look great from the outside.
I could see Indiana maybe. I mean, they can't trade Sabonis because he's on a poison pill, and I don't think he's tradable because he just signed an extension anyway. Um, but I could.
The rookie deal extensions are different. It's just poison pill. Yeah, they can trade him. It's just really hard when there's only one team in the
Yeah,
NBA that's under the cap. So
yeah. So I was gonna say, I mean, maybe it makes sense for them to.
Jake says that Grant Williams draft pick changed the whole outlook of French.
Hey, hey, I'll happily say I think I was right on Grant Williams translating, not translating. Jake's been right about a lot, so I'm gonna take that one and run. But I mean, if you're Indiana, maybe you look at Miles Turner for Love, and then maybe seeing if you can jump in on Drummond and include like Aaron Holiday and I don't know. I don't know. And you'd have to include like Jeremy Lamb and TJ Warren and like picks, but Aaron Holiday is a good like prospect for a point guard. And I think Indiana might have a trade exception. I don't know. But I feel like Indiana's going to be aggressive because they have a really solid team. They're going to get Oladipo back. They're killing it without Oladipo. But I just think they need another like star level player to go along with Oladipo and Brogdon. I think Oladipo and Brogdon are two star level players, but they're not like good enough to lead that team to a NBA Finals, unless they have somebody like a Drummond next to them. So I think Indiana might realize that and might try and make a splash. And they're a team that nobody's really talking about. Especially using Miles Turner as an asset because he's like a young center who's already productive, already a good defender. And then, picks with that. I know they don't have their pick this year, but future picks. Aaron Holiday. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, whenever you mention a team, I'm like, oh, I hope they trade for him, so it's not us.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting, man. I mean, Detroit's going to be interesting to watch. Love with Cleveland. And then Drew Holiday.
Indiana.
Indiana's going to be interesting to watch. I'm excited for the trade deadline, man. I want it to be here. I want it to
I
be
know.
here. We gotta figure out exactly what we're gonna do stream wise.
I'm gonna take that day off work, and I'll
Dope.
be available. We
All
can just
right. Yeah.
go all
Well,
day if you want to. We can take turns so we don't get tired.
I mean, the deadline's at like 12 though. So we'll like cover it like to like 1 or 1:30. I don't know, something like that. Maybe 2. I don't know. But like
Plus the
start.
Blazers make like 8 trades.
Hey man, 8 trades would be exciting. I'm down for 8 trades. Oh man, like that's literally the excitement sitting at 15 and 22 is like, what the hell are we gonna do? Because we know what we're gonna do on the court right now. We're gonna lose games to any winning team we face. What are we gonna do off the court though? Like, what are we gonna do in terms of our roster? Tori got stamina with the new lighter hair. Do a stream of 10 players to trade for. That sounds like a video idea. Jerry Dipoto takes over the Portland trade line. That would be fun as hell. Trader, Trader Jerry. He makes a trade a second, I swear. If nothing happens, it's going to be the most disappointing trade deadline in the history of this franchise.
He would trade everyone but Dame, and the only reason why he wouldn't trade Dame is because he's ineligible to be traded
I
this year.
know, for real.
So, I told Tori this earlier today. I have finished editing my next trade video and just asking for his help cleaning up a few things and adding some graphics. And that should be out within the next day or two. Hopefully, there's not a trade before then.
You said it was a lot better. What do you think was better about this video for you?
I just think like the pace of it and the I don't know, just the way I talk, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah. So for those of you guys watching, yeah, talking, when you're a YouTuber, you gotta focus on your inflection a little bit, the way you talk, that type of thing.
It's still not great, but it's better.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, like, if you were doing this on your own, like, it would take a lot longer. You know what I mean? Like, you have somebody that can kind of give you pointers here and there, like somebody that can guide you, who had to learn this on his own and had a rough experience learning this on his own, making videos for pretty much nobody. It's a grind. YouTube's a grind. So that's the thing. Like, I'm interested to hear the evolution. I'm interested to hear this next video. Interested to hear what you got for us.
I will say that editing went a lot smoother this time.
You kind of getting the hang of things.
Well, I realized as I was editing the last one how to leave more space in between sentences and stuff, so I can keep like a sentence in one part of the say and take part out easier. The last time I had to take out all these really small pieces at a time, and it was really
it's rough,
really time consuming. But yeah,
I might have to do I don't know, a live stream that I don't leave up, and just me editing a video just in case anybody wants to see the behind the scenes or something. I don't know. What date is the deadline? February 6th.
Yep.
What do you think of people wanting Kuzma for Ant? Hell no. Don't trade Ant for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma is never going to be that much better than what he is right now, and he's not that great right now. He's a bit overrated. If he wasn't playing in Los Angeles, nobody would even really know him, honestly. I mean, he'd be a solid player, but he's literally a glorified, TJ Warren. He's literally a glorified TJ Warren. TJ Warren might be better than him, honestly.
If TJ Warren would have been a first-round pick of the Lakers, he'd be
exactly.
Although he doesn't have the stupid hair and
the Kuz name, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, real quick, Randall Pink Floyd. I do talk about something you left in the comments of my last video regarding the Knicks, and drop your name. I don't know if that's a name you want to hear your own name, but yeah. Or not your own name, but your username.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I read off their usernames when I do my mailbags, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so, I don't know. I've been trying to think of, new trade ideas and stuff. It's hard, though, to, cover something I haven't covered. It's hard to come up with new stuff. I feel like we've literally discussed every possibility, even though there might be something that comes out of left field,
Yeah, That's why I want like an actual trade to happen.
I know. I
Because
know.
like even if Love got traded to the Pacers, like you said, that would be fun to like talk about like the ramifications for both teams moving forward and all that stuff. But like we don't even have that right now. Can't even like grade trades. I mean, like it was awesome just to have the Clarkson
Yeah.
for Exum trade, and that was like a dumb trade.
It's just the lull of the season, man. The lull of like a bad season. Um, where you're just kind of waiting for something. I mean, we're waiting on Scow news. We're waiting on an update on Nurkic. We're waiting on potential trades. We have a hard schedule coming up. We can't beat a winning team. So it's just like, I mean, what we got next? We got Toronto, don't we?
Yep.
I'll be shocked if we beat Toronto, even with their injuries, because they play well without their injuries. Um, so I'll be shocked if we win that game. Dame played 42 minutes tonight. I mean, we got. Let me pull up the schedule here.
Hey Tori, I gotta take off.
Oh,
Thanks
all
for
right,
having me
bro.
on.
Yeah. Yep.
Later, everyone. Have a good night.
That was fast. um. Yeah. So Toronto, and then at Minnesota. That's a game we will probably be the underdog in. That we come home against Milwaukee. I mean, we got Charlotte at home, which is a winnable game, but then on the road versus Houston, Dallas, OKC. That goes through to the 18th. Like, this is a rough stretch. And we're just waiting for stuff to happen. We're waiting on news for Scott. We're waiting on news, maybe an update on Nurkic. When is he coming back? Is he coming back soon? And then, we're waiting on news of potential trade rumors, that type of thing. And until then, we have a rough schedule, and we're probably going to lose a lot of these games. So I don't know, man. It's getting kind of to the point where it's just like another game, another loss versus a winning team. I don't even really care. I'm expecting losses like this to happen. So, yeah. I don't know. It's the doldrums of the season. It'd be fun if we were winning games, just because the product on the floor would be fun. I wouldn't be waiting on Stas to get fired. I don't think he gets fired. He just signed a new extension. I actually did, when I was going upstairs. I did look at the some of the film. Sam Whiteside, for the most part, was matched up against Bam Adebayo. I was wrong on that. Might have to tweet an apology to Terry Stotts. But there was also possessions. I think like the first possession, Hassan was matched up against Myers. There looked like there was a couple other possessions where Hassan ended up matched up against Myers from the get-go. Couldn't really tell. Maybe it was like a switch on a cross screen or something. But I really thought Terry like literally put Hassan Whiteside on Myers Leonard, and I was losing my mind because of how ridiculous that would have been. How ridiculous of a matchup that would have been. Oh my goodness. Oh, that would have been bad. Terry has a Twitter? No, he doesn't. Unless he has a burner. I don't know if he has a burner. He might have a burner. If he has a burner, he's probably already tweeted at me telling me how dumb I am. Randall Pink Floyd says, yep, fans are checking out. Yeah, you can kind of see it with the streams too. We had an uptick after Melo signed. We were getting like 120, 140 viewers, like peak, viewership. Now it's like 80, Not complaining at all. It's not a big deal to me at all. It's just interesting to kind of see the way it's tapered off a little bit, Still got the OGs, still got the true supporters in here. But it's definitely trailed off as we've struggled here lately. Yeah, give me some ideas of content you want to see. I want to make a list of content to make, because as I've said, I want to get back on the video grind. I should have a mailbag out tomorrow. I'm still working on stuff like an intro and outro, that type of stuff. But I'm curious to hear what type of stuff you guys might want to see, and I can write it down. Do a rebuild trade for Covington and Jang. Yeah, I do need to do a 2K video. I want to get a game capture, which would make that stuff easier. Russell first round exit Westbrook said, if I didn't enjoy your channel, I would have probably tuned out the Blazers for the most part this season. Yeah, I know some other people are like that too. So hopefully I can help you still kind of take some enjoyment out of this Blazers team, even if it's not taking enjoyment out of the Blazers team, even if it's just taking enjoyment out of the channel. I'm here to entertain you guys when things are tough. So, anyway, draft prospects, yeah, I do need to do that. This channel makes the Blazers bearable. React to my first video. Draft prospects, 2K. And a reaction to my first video. Or maybe like one of my... I might have deleted my first video because of how bad it was. Top 5 small forwards to trade for. I might make a trade video. Eric's been with the trade stuff though. Thoughts on Breeze and Brady getting knocked out this weekend. I loved seeing Brady get knocked out. The Vikings beating the Saints. I mean, the Vikings go up against my 49ers next week. I think that's a game that the Niners should win. Hopefully they give me a championship this season or give me a run to the Super Bowl. That's my good team now. The Niners and the Blazers traded places. Hi Tori, Eric. I don't know what you mean, Bruce Davis. Eric's gone. Eric had to sign off. His wife might have yelled at him. My Seahawks traded places with the Blazers. Your Seahawks weren't bad last year, though. My Niners were bad. My Niners made a huge jump, man. Literally went from 15th to 1st in the NFC. What's up, Robbie? Feel like I haven't seen you in a while, man. What's going on? Seahawks the only bright spot I have right now. Gonzaga's a bright spot for me. We just signed Jalen Suggs, 6th ranked prospect. Hopefully he doesn't go overseas to go pro. I think that'd be a mistake for him, and that'd suck for Gonzaga. I'm hoping Gonzaga can pull things off. They're the number 1 ranked team in the nation right now, but I don't think they're that good. Sad news about CJ Beathard's brother. Yeah, that sucked to hear. My Niners were injured to crap and acquired Bosa. Yeah, it was perfect storm. It was like the Spurs being injured and getting Tim Duncan. Except we got Bosa, who's been freaking phenomenal. The trim is looking good, big fella. Appreciate it, Charlie. I'm glad you guys like it. I was kind of nervous about this haircut. It's because kind of experimenting with stuff. I still need to make sure I get it like looking right, gelled. But what do you think about Ayayi having watched the Zags? Doesn't seem like anybody will have a pro future, but I mean, Duke can knock down shots, defend a little bit. Like he's gotten better. The Zags always kind of have a guy like that, just a shooter, a 3-and-D guy. It sucks that we had to rely on him. I wish Norvell came back. Norvell should have came back. He's not on an NBA team right now. That's the thing. Gonzaga lost so many good players that could have came back too. In the past, that hadn't been much of a problem for Gonzaga. They had 4-year guys, but they lost Rui Hachimura, Brandon Clark, and Zach Norvell. If they had those guys come back, this team would be so dominant. By far the favorite to win a championship. Chris Boucher, former Duck, is doing really well. Yeah, he's doing better than Tyler Dorsey, Dylan Brooks, and Jordan Bell, who are like the 3 from that team that were drafted. Chris Boucher's been the best one. Marcus Howard from Marquette might be a nice bench piece for Portland. I mean, we already have 3 guards. We don't need a 4th guard, and If we did, it would probably need to be somebody who defends because we got 3 scoring guards right now. Marcus Howard, it will be interesting to see if he's able to make that college scoring translate to the league. You know, have an Isaiah Thomas type of impact. Trust Tinkle for Portland as an undrafted free agent. Devin Robinson in the G League, probably. Isaac Okaro and Patrick Williams if Toppin isn't there. Yeah, I need to watch more of those guys. I watched a bit of Florida State win yesterday. What do I think about GP3? I mean, he's playing well for Washington right now, but I mean, as a fourth guard, maybe, I guess, but I don't know. The fourth guard spot isn't really important to me. We only got one scoring god. His name is Anthony Tolliver. Tolliver's been better lately. I have more confidence in his jump shot now. His jump shot looks a lot better when that ball goes in. His form, at least. Just watch the intro to your first YouTube video. It had me dying. I don't even remember, man. I don't even remember. Like, I'm too scared to watch it on stream because I don't want to be cringing at it. Oh my goodness. That'll be a difficult video to make just because I used to be... Let's just say I was trying to find my... what do you call it? I was trying to figure out my style. So I was experimenting with like different styles of video. And it was cringe. It was bad. Everybody got to start somewhere. How's the rap coming along? Just be patient on that. Just be patient on that. I didn't say I'd release it in a month or 2 months. I'll release it before the end of the season though. I'm not about to work on that unless, you know, I'm by myself. I don't know, man. I mean, like, I got $100 for it, $100 donation. First P, last JL came through with that for you guys. But man, sometimes I regret that. But I'll hold up my end of a bargain. You know, it's just don't expect it to be here tomorrow, so to say. Better be good. It's gonna be trash. It's gonna be trash. I mean, hopefully it's not that trash though. You know, we'll see. We will see on that. So if we donate 500, you gotta drop an album. Hey, if you donate 500, I will drop an album. Like during the summer. Promise. Why did Terry start Gary Trent over Ant today? What was he doing? I'm not really sure. Anthony played 34 minutes, so didn't really make a difference. So, didn't really make a difference who started. I think Anthony started the second half, right? And his Shaq voice, screw Stotts. Yeah, I'm going to make a Stotts diss track. Yeah, I'll start plugging $500 for an album. Alrighty, my phone's about to die. I'm going to end up signing off here. We'll have a podcast tomorrow. Me and Eric will check back in with you guys tomorrow. Make sure to check it out. If you don't watch it live, you can always watch it after. But we got some new graphics and stuff for you guys. So I'm gonna, relax. It's weird. I've been streaming for what? Let me see here. I've been streaming for over 2 hours and it's still not even 8 o'clock yet, which is very weird. Just I feel like it's 10, 11 p.m. right now. just because I've been streaming for 2 hours. Usually that's the time it is after I'm done streaming for 2 hours, but it's almost 8. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend and all that. I want to go get some good dinner. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I need to find a good place to eat tonight because I'm hungry. I need some good food. So maybe I'll head down to Portland, figure out a place to go. I want to get In-N-Out soon. Got to go down to In-N-Out at some point because they got that new In-N-Out in Kaiser. Appreciate it, Jake. Glad you enjoyed it. Going back to school for first time in 2 years tomorrow. Have fun with that, Russell. First round exit Westbrook. Jake Carey says lines are still really long at In-N-Out. I was hoping they were better now, but that doesn't surprise me. That's sad. I got to figure out a good time to go because I haven't had an In-N-Out since I was drunk in Las Vegas a couple years ago. Yep. All right. So, yeah, my phone's dead. Family lives there. Yeah, keep me updated on that, Jake. I'd appreciate that because once those lines start to clear up a little bit, I'm down there and I'm hitting In-N-Out because I've been waiting for that. Yeah, peace out, Robbie. I'll catch you later. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll have a mailbag, Eric's Trade Talk, and with that, this has been Tori. Peace out. Go Blazers.